Okay, YouTube. I was inspired by scary stories by B-Buster, so thank you to him. And I'm gonna be reading some scary stories from Reddit. So here they are. This is number 10 from by Erutius. Okay. What follows is an excerpt from a file found in the basement of Chesterfield Correctional Institute in the file of Bradley Swanson Cooper, identified in the files as Subject 10. I don't even know if anyone will read this, but if I don't get something down, then I'm likely to lose my shit worse than I already have. I am prisoner 468954002, but you can call me Brad. I've been in this facility for the last 15 years, and I've got to say that prison life is not as bad as they make it out to be. 3 squares a day, 2 trips to the yard every day, and not once has anyone tried to screw me in the shower, drop soap or not. This facility is weird, to say the least, and I should know, because I spent most of my life in and out of them. I went to juvie when I was just 11 for beating up a kid near to death with just my flesh mitts. The court said it was assault, but if they'd seen what he was doing to my little sister, and him 14 years old and bigger than either of us, they'd have given me a medal. But since my little sister refused to testify, and his friends said he hadn't done anything, I got 3 years in a juvenile rehabilitation center. Juvenile Rehabilitation Center. It's a funny word that grown-ups use for a workplace where older kids rack you over daily for being littler than you, and your life is basically a living nightmare. I've seen things that would wreck you for life, but I survived. And when they let me out at 14, my real career began. I was in and out of jail and juvenile center for the rest of my teens. Breaking and entering, assault, drugs, public intoxication, and truancy were a few of their favorites. But if they'd known the other stuff I got up to, they'd have locked me away and thrown out the key. Once I was 18, I found my true calling as a bank robber. Some of the guys in the gang I ran with had lofty ideas about getting rich and getting out. But for me, it was all about the thrill. At the trial, I was accused of robbing 8 banks throughout the states. But once again, the system was off by a big margin. I'm pretty sure I robbed 27 banks, but it gets fuzzy after a while. And I'm not sure if it counts if you rob the same bank more than once. I may have robbed almost 30 banks, but I can honestly say that murder wasn't my bag. And that lady at number 26 who got shot was a fluke. She startled me, fucking old broad, and that gun just went off in my hand. I never learned whether she lived or died, but after that job I got sloppy, and that's why I'm here. Chesterfield Correctional Institute has been my home for the last 15 years. Like I said, as far as prisons go, it's not too bad a place. Shower's alright. Not the best, but alright. In the yard, the guys there give me some distance when I pump iron or run the track. And if I want to join a basketball game or something, I'm always more than welcome. There are gangs, there always are. But I decided when I first got here that I wasn't going to be a part of any prison gang. I keep my nose clean, my head down, and serve out my time. Plus, it's nice not to have to sleep with an eye open while you wait for that shift from a rival gang. I take my shower, go to my court-ordered anger management, don't make trouble in the yard, and generally just trying to keep my nose clean so I can get paroled. It's a good system, and man, it feels like I've been in here a million years. Sometimes I tell you, at least until today I did. C.O. Hanscombe and C.O. Bryant came to get me for a head shrinking session today. I started to refuse, but it never seems to do any good anyway. Every few years they stick me with some head shrinker who tries to get me in the right mindset for my parole hearing. They talk a lot of talk about how I need to wake up to my situation and make better choices once I've paid my debt to society. It's a crock of shit, of course. I know for a fact they don't let murderers out of here. And even if they did, certainly they'll let murderers, bank robbing, career criminals out of prison early for good behavior. The parole hearings are usually just as much of a shit show as the therapy sessions are. They make me up in front of the board and I charm them and tell them what I know they want to hear, and they say, well, this is a model inmate who's ready to re-enter society, and then I get taken right back to my cell so I can wake up the next time like it's business as usual. Nothing ever changes around here but the Friday special. At least I thought so. Hanscombe and Bright won't tell me anything about this new shrink. That's okay, I guess. I like both of them. They're pretty good guys as far as screws go. But it's weird how every time I see them, I feel like I've met them before. Hanscombe is a mystery. Big, lanky guy that doesn't say much. But Bright's no mystery at all. He looks just like Tommy B, who was a fellow gang member back in my teenage days. These two could be brothers, if not twins. It's always kind of comforting to see a familiar face on the inside. The two led me to a familiar little room and unlocked the door so I can go see this new shrink. It's a lady this time. A real babe if it wasn't for this weird feeling I get about her. She's tall, long legs, really fills out that pantsuit with long blonde hair that turns into ringlets. She looks at me over the top of her librarian glasses, and I can see at first glance she's feeling towards me is another success story. She's not something I like to make a story out of, but thinking about her and me together makes me feel kinda guilty. There's just something about her that makes me feel wrong for feeling that way, and it makes me defensive all at once. "Hello, Bradley, how are you feeling today?" she asks. And her voice is like honey poured over sex appeal. Brad, nobody's called me Bradley since my mom died. Her face registers momentary pain, but she eyes it well. "Okay, Brad, my name's Catherine, and I'm here to prepare you for my next bullshit session with the parole, right?" She quirks a delicate eyebrow. "Do you not want to be paroled?" she asks, and it's not in the angry way that I usually ask. Coming from her, it sounds like she's genuinely interested. "Lady," I say, but she cuts me off. "Catherine." "Catherine, then." I find the idea that they just let a guy like me out of prison very funny. "Why is that?" she asks, not taking notes in favor of staring into me with those way too familiar eyes. "Well, I'm a career criminal, Kathy. I've been in the system longer than I've been out, and that makes for a very high return rate. Plus, I'm very sure they don't let people who murder people out of prison unless it's inside a body bag." "Who said you were a murderer?" I laugh, but it comes off more of a scoff. Kathy, could you have ever shot anyone with a shotgun at close range?" She shakes her head, and those sexy corkscrews bounce as little as she does. "No. Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't end well. I shot that lady close enough to vaporize her, and I saw how much blood was on the floor after I ran. If she ain't dead, then I'm a duck." "Well, you better start cracking then, because your victim survived." I sat back a little. "Are you serious?" She looked back at my guards at that point and asked them sweetly if she could have a moment alone with me. Bright warned her that I was likely to jump her the second the door closed, but she only glanced over at me and asked me if I'd do such a thing. I told her I wouldn't, and she turned back and told the guards she'd only need a few minutes. Hanscom and Bright looked at each other, and after a few seconds of contemplation, they both left. Catherine waited till the door had closed to lean across the table. "We don't have much time, so I need you to listen to me." That got my attention. "Listen to you? None of this is real. The prison, those guards, your prison friends, none of it is real. The prison is crafted from your own imagination." I did laugh then, and I sounded nothing like the earlier scoff. "Is this some therapist bullshit or something? The prison is in my mind, I'm the master of my destiny, blah blah blah," I asked, but she wouldn't relent. "I'm very serious, Bride. You need to listen very carefully," she said, and for a moment her intensity kind of scared me. "You're a subject in an ongoing research program named Sleepaway. In exchange for your cooperation, they took time off your sentence. In exchange for 10 years in the program, they agreed to release you after your service was complete." "What the fuck are you talking about?" I asked, getting a little weirded out by this whole exchange. "Are you telling me that I'm some kind of guinea pig in some big experiment that's been going on for the last 10 years? "No," she said, looking a little pained. "I'm telling you, you're the subject of an experiment that's been going on for the last 25 years. I sat in stunned silence for a few seconds, and I tried to process what she was telling me. "That's impossible. I've only been in here for 10 years. "How long were you in here before the parole board started meeting with you?" she asked, and the smirk on her face told me that she thought she had me. 5 years, I said, but immediately knew that was wrong. Had it been 10 years since they started coming around? 15, maybe? It's hard to tell in this place. Time becomes so weird after a while that sometimes a day feels like a week and a year feels like an afternoon. I thought back and I was pretty sure it had only been 8 years at the most, but when I said that, her next question came in just as hard. "And how many parole hearings have you been in over the years?" 3 was my first thought, but no, that was wrong. 5? Maybe it was as many as 12. It was the same problem as before. They all ran together in a long line of faces behind a table. But the more I thought about them, the more I came to realize they were the exact same 3 faces. The black lady in the pantsuit, who looked like my caseworker, the bald guy with the mustache, and the pressed white shirt who looked like my shop teacher at the juvenile facility I'd been at when I was 13, and the Chinese guy in the business suit reminded me of the guy who sold us drugs for us while I was with the gang. Faces I knew, even though some were vague, and who'd come back to me on the inside. Then I started thinking about Hanscom and Bright, and I realized Bright didn't just look like Tommy B. He was Tommy B. The last time I'd seen him, Tommy was going to get his life back together for his son, he said, and he hopped a bus and left town for good. Hanscom, though, why was he so familiar? Was he? Yeah, that's right, he was a guy at the liquor store that always sold us booze on discount. And the therapist then, I'd never seen anyone like her. Or had I? "I'd wager I look familiar to you, don't I?" she said. And it made me shiver a little, because I had just been thinking that exact same thing. I bet if you fought hard enough Thought back to the day you were in court just before you were sentenced. You realize I looked just like your little sister. I felt sweat breaking out all over. She was right. Kathy, when I'd seen her in court that day, I didn't even recognize her. I let my mind wander to that hot little number in the front row a few times. I'd fantasized about running my hands through those corkscrew skirts, feeling her naked skin under my hands, anything really, to take my mind off being in court. When she'd taken the stand that they'd identified her as my little fucking sister, though I felt like I could puke right there and then. I mean, I'm a hardened criminal and all, but I ain't no sister fucker. I felt more ashamed when she told them how I'd always been kind to her, beating up the boy who tried to grope her, making sure she had money, taking care of her when my parents couldn't be bothered, and thinking back, I had to wonder if she was the reason I was in this program at all. I stood stunned for a 10 count. When she leaned across the table towards me, I recoiled a little. I don't look like this anymore, Brad. Life's been hard for us since you went away. You've been inside for nearly 26 years, and had I known, I'd have come to help you 15 years ago. I felt tears welling up in my eyes. Kathy, is it really you? She reached across and looked to my hand. I'm sorry, Brad. I'm sorry I didn't stand up for you when we were kids the way you stood up for me. But I'm trying to make amends. I'm trying to get my big brother back before it's too late. Too late? Too late for what? Can't they just pull the plug and let me out? No, Brad. Pulling the plug will literally kill you. But there's a way that they can get you out. All these parole hearings were put in place to release you from the program. Your mind is returning you to your cell all these years instead of releasing you. You're the one keeping yourself trapped here, Brad, not the technicians. And you're the one that has to get yourself out. How, I asked, already falling into desperation. I was never smart, never good at shit like this, and the thought of figuring my way out of my own head made my brain hurt. A part of my mind argued that this was all bullshit and the shrink was just trying to mess with me. But if that was the case, then how did she know about Kathy? How did she know how I felt when I looked at her? How did she know about so much about the things I'd only thought about? The technicians have sent me in for a short time only. As far as they're concerned, the experiment is a success, and 9 candidates out of 10 waking up fine is okay with them. 1 in 10 is an acceptable margin of error when they're dealing with people classified as undesirables. If I come back and you don't wake up before the end of the day, then they're going to pull the plug and you'll die. When I leave though, your guards will come back and they'll take you before the parole board. When they say you can go, you have to go with them. No matter what happens, you have to go with them. She stiffed a little, perky breast pressing against the fabric of her top and making me feel like a bigger creep than ever. And finally she looked back at me. They're bringing me out. Don't forget, you have to go with the parole board if you want to live. You have to go with them. Then before my eyes, she saw to fade out like someone beamed up in a bad sci-fi movie. I love you, big brother, she said, and then she was just gone. I'm sitting here for an hour and no one has come to get me. I banged on the door, tried to wrench it open, screamed till I'm a horse, but no one has come to get me for anything. I found this stack paper on the table with a pen and started writing all this out, so it'd be some record of my last hours. I don't know what's going on. Maybe my mind is still trying to keep me here. Or maybe they never ran the program to bring me out at all. But if anyone reads this, then please do me one favor. Tell my little sister, Catherine Swain Cooper, that I love her, and thank her for trying to help her stupid, worthless brother escape the inescapable. Tell her thanks for trying to help me escape my own head. Okay, thanks. If you like that, please subscribe to my channel and check out my other stuff. Thanks, and come back again.